The human mind possesses an extraordinary, almost magical ability to look backward through the fog of time and find solace in the shared cultural touchstones of our youth. We live in an era dominated by hyper-accelerated digital landscapes, where content is consumed in fractions of a second and forgotten just as quickly. Yet millions of individuals find themselves drawn daily to a completely different kind of experience. They seek out moments of quiet, deliberate recollection, turning their focus toward the golden ages of cinema and the structural beauty of classic storytelling. It is a phenomenon that transcends mere entertainment, touching upon a deep-seated human need for connection, pattern recognition, and intellectual stimulation. Across the globe, an underground renaissance of puzzle-solving and cinematic exploration has taken root, captivating casual viewers and hardened cinephiles alike. This movement does not rely on flashy special effects or high-octane action sequences, but rather on the intricate web-like networks that connect the artists, creators, and performers who shaped our collective imagination over the past several decades. To understand the immense draw of this movement, one must first look at how memory operates when paired with the universally understood language of film. Movies are more than just moving images on a screen. They are time capsules that preserve specific eras, emotions, and cultural shifts. When we think of a particular actor or a memorable scene, our brains instantly trigger a cascade of related memories, including where we were when we first watched that film, who we were with, and how we felt at that specific moment in our lives. Specialized cinematic challenges tap directly into this profound reservoir of human experience, transforming a simple solitary activity into a grand nostalgic journey. Every day, a brand new expedition begins, presenting participants with a meticulously crafted architectural grid of cinematic history. These daily exercises are not designed to be simple trivia tests that anyone can solve with a quick internet search instead. They are complex structural labyrinths built from the real-world filmographies of Hollywood's most celebrated and recognizable figures as the morning sun rises and millions of people open their digital devices to face the daily challenge. They are greeted by a structural framework designed to test the absolute limits of their cultural memory. The concept sounds elegant and deceptively straightforward. On the surface, you are given two distinct performers, often from completely different eras or stylistic genres, and your primary objective is to forge a flawless, unbroken chain of cinematic projects that seamlessly bridges the gap between them. It is a creative exercise in associative logic, demanding that the participant mentally sift through hundreds of casting lists, directorial choices, and ensemble productions to find the precise common denominators. However, the path from the starting performer to the final destination is rarely a straight line, and the true brilliance of these daily designs lies in the intricate architecture of the maze itself. To successfully navigate these paths, one must understand that every single link in the chain serves as both a gateway to the next step and a potential trap. Turning what seems like a casual game into a high-stakes psychological workout, what elevates this specific daily ritual into a genuinely addictive global phenomenon is the intentional implementation of varying difficulty tiers, ensuring that there is an accessible entry point for beginners while simultaneously providing a punishing cerebral test for seasoned cinematic historians. The experience is deliberately calibrated across easy, medium, and hard levels of difficulty, allowing individuals to gradually build their confidence and sharpen their analytical skills as they progress through the daily gauntlet. On the lower tiers, the connections are often intuitive and highly visible, relying on massive blockbuster franchises or iconic pairings that remain fresh in the public consciousness. But as one ventures into the higher tiers, the safety nets are entirely removed, forcing participants to recall obscure indie films, forgotten ensemble dramas, and brief supporting roles from early in an artist's career. To make matters even more compelling, each day features a highly anticipated bonus challenge dedicated entirely to a specific rotating decade of filmmaking history. This bonus stage serves as an intense injection of pure nostalgia, zeroing in on the unique aesthetic, style, and star power of eras like the neon-soaked 1980s or the gritty, transformative 1990s. However, the true danger of the journey lies not in what is missing, but in what has been deliberately placed in your path to lead you astray. The creators of these intricate puzzles do not merely build bridges, they act as master illusionists, filling the selection pool with highly convincing decoys designed to exploit the cognitive biases of the player. These decoys take the form of major Hollywood blockbusters, critically acclaimed dramas or beloved character actors who seem at first glance to perfectly fit into the logic of the solution, only to lead the unsuspecting solver into a frustrating dead end. A single misstep based on an incorrect assumption or a fuzzy memory can completely compromise the structural integrity of your entire chain, forcing you to dismantle your progress and start completely from scratch. It is a test of discipline just as much as knowledge, requiring players to slow down, double-check their internal databases, and carefully weigh the validity of every single potential connection before committing to a final path, as this community continues to expand exponentially every day. It has evolved from a series of isolated intellectual exercises into a deeply collaborative global forum. While the official rules dictate that there is only one mathematically precise, predetermined solution optimized for the specific pool of titles provided, the beautiful reality of cinema is that the web of human connection is infinitely vast. Solvers frequently discover alternative, shorter, or remarkably creative pathways that bypass the intended route entirely, using obscure industry crossovers that even the puzzle designers might have overlooked. If you find joy in uncovering these hidden patterns, testing the limits of your memory, and celebrating the timeless magic of the silver screen, please take a brief moment right now to subscribe to this channel and join our growing community of film enthusiasts. By subscribing, you will never miss a daily breakdown, and you will gain access to a passionate network of individuals who love nothing more than analyzing these complex cinematic structures. The stage is fully set, the daily parameters have been established, and the deep archive of past cinematic mysteries stands ready for those brave enough to explore it, leading us directly into the heart of the challenge. The real essence of this daily cinematic ritual lies within the psychological tension that mounts the moment a participant commits to solving the medium and hard difficulty tiers. As the direct paths begin to splinter into multiple potential directions, the human mind is forced to confront its own cognitive limitations and the subtle tricks played by memory over time. When you step beyond the welcoming threshold of the beginner level, the architectural design of the puzzle shifts dramatically, transforming from a pleasant walk down memory lane into a highly sophisticated gauntlet of misdirection. The primary mechanism of this increased difficulty is the strategic multiplication of decoys, which are carefully selected to mirror the exact kinds of mental associations that people naturally make when thinking about Hollywood history. For instance, a player might see a critically acclaimed director's masterpiece or a globally recognized blockbuster listed in the selection pool, and instantly assume it must be the definitive bridge between two legendary performers, only to discover hours later that those specific actors actually missed working together by a matter of months, or that one of them backed out of the production during the early casting phases. This level of design sophistication turns every single daily puzzle into a narrative battlefield where tension builds with every selected link. You are not just matching names and titles, you are actively fighting against the false narratives that your own brain creates when it tries to fill in the blanks of historical timelines. In the medium-tier challenges, the introduction of a handful of these decoy films is usually enough to make even seasoned movie buffs pause and re-examine their initial instincts. The lines between what actually happened on a movie set decades ago and what we simply assume happened due to the cultural pairing of certain stars begin to blur. It forces a complete slowdown of the thinking process, requiring the solver to mentally reconstruct the entire filmographies of the actors involved, looking not just for their most famous or celebrated blockbusters, but for those mid-budget studio releases, forgotten ensemble comedies, or late-career character pieces that often serve as the true hidden hinges of the entire cinematic ecosystem when a participant finally gathers the courage to tackle the hard tier. The cognitive pressure increases exponentially as the safety nets are completely removed and the ratio of decoys to actual solutions becomes incredibly unforgiving. In this elite tier of play, the puzzle designers intentionally lean into the deepest, most obscure corners of cinematic history to construct chains that defy conventional intuition. You might find yourself tasked with connecting a contemporary indie darling who rose to fame in the era of streaming platforms with a legendary star from the golden age of studio filmmaking who retired before the turn of the century. To bridge a massive historical and stylistic gap like that requires an intimate understanding of the industry's generational handoffs, specifically those unique transitional films where aging icons shared the screen with up-and-coming newcomers who would later go on to anchor the blockbusters of the modern era. The tension in these moments is palpable, as a single incorrect choice based on a fuzzy recollection of an end credit sequence can completely collapse the integrity of your entire chain, rendering all previous progress useless and forcing you to carefully dismantle your work piece by piece. What makes this process so deeply engaging is that it mimics the real-world chaos and serendipity of the entertainment industry itself. Every movie production is a complex web of logistical miracles, last-minute casting replacements, and unexpected creative choices, all of which are reflected in the unpredictable paths these puzzles take. A movie that was universally panned by critics and forgotten by general audiences upon its initial theatrical release suddenly becomes the single most critical anchor point of the day, the only existing bridge that can successfully connect two wildly different cinematic universes. Participants often find themselves experiencing a profound sense of revelation when they realize that a box office flop they hadn't thought about in 20 years is suddenly the golden key to unlocking a master-level puzzle. This realization shifts the player's perspective entirely, causing them to appreciate the vast, interconnected tapestry of film history not just as a collection of isolated masterpieces, but as a living, breathing network where every project, regardless of its commercial or critical success, plays a vital role in maintaining the structural continuity of the industry as players navigate these treacherous waters. A collective digital sigh of relief or frustration can be felt vibrating across the global community. The tension is amplified by the strict structural limitation built into the system, while there are countless theoretical ways to connect any two human beings on the planet through various real-world associations. This specific arena operates under a strict closed-loop economy of choices. You are confined exclusively to the finite pool of actors and titles provided for that specific day, meaning that even if you happen to know a brilliantly short, three-step connection using an obscure international film festival release, it will do you absolutely no good if those specific titles are not present in the designated daily selection. This rule forces participants to abandon their preferred personal trivia routes and instead try to climb inside the minds of the puzzle creators, deciphering the deliberate logic, hidden clues, and thematic traps that were woven into the grid before the sun even rose. This brings a fascinating element of psychological warfare to the experience, as players must constantly ask themselves whether a specific title is a genuine lifeline or a beautifully disguised trap meant to lure them into a dead end. The competitive drive to solve the puzzle perfectly on the first attempt, without relying on trial and error tactics, creates a gripping internal monologue that keeps people glued to their screens for stretches at a time. It is a modern manifestation of the classic analytical puzzle, updated for an audience that grew up feeding on the imagery, dialogue, and star power of the silver screen. As the clock ticks forward and the community debates the merits of different paths in the digital forums, the stage is gradually set for the final, ultimate revelation of the daily cycle, where the hidden truths of the cinematic web are fully brought to light, and the overarching significance of these historical connections is finally explained in vivid, undeniable detail. The final revelation of the daily cinematic chain brings with it an unparalleled sense of intellectual satisfaction, as the intricate architectural web of the entertainment industry is fully laid bare before our eyes. When the final correct link snaps into place, it does more than just solve a complex daily brain teaser. It unlocks a profound appreciation for the journey's struggles and unexpected crossovers of the creative individuals who have dedicated their lives to the craft of storytelling. Looking at the completed puzzle, one begins to see Hollywood not as a collection of competing corporate entities or isolated creative silos, but as a massive, multi-generational family tree where every single branch is inextricably connected to the next. The true beauty of this system is discovered when we look closely at the individual heroes of these chains. The actors whose expansive and varied careers provide the very connective tissue that allows us to travel effortlessly across different eras of film history. These are the tireless character actors, the versatile chameleons, and the enduring icons who have survived the tumultuous shifts of the entertainment landscape, moving seamlessly from the era of grainy physical film stock to the high-definition realities of the modern digital streaming landscape. Consider the remarkable trajectories of the performers who frequently serve as the foundational anchors for master-level challenges. Often, the crucial bridge between a classic mid-century drama and a modern sci-fi blockbuster is not a flashy, top-billed superstar, but a dedicated, hard-working supporting player whose name might not always top the marquee. but whose face is instantly recognizable to millions of viewers worldwide. These individuals are the unsung heroes of the cinematic universe, jumping from genre to genre, working with visionary directors and rookie filmmakers alike, and quietly accumulating a vast, diverse filmography that spans dozens of decades. When we trace their specific paths through the daily puzzle, we are tracking the living history of the medium itself. We see a young, ambitious performer starting out with a tiny, uncredited role in a forgotten 1970s studio thriller, gradually building a reputation for reliability, and eventually finding themselves sharing a pivotal scene with an upcoming superstar who would dominate the box office 30 years later. This is the real magic that the Daily Challenge highlights, the undeniable truth that every single career in Hollywood is built upon a foundation of shared experiences, creative handoffs, and unexpected artistic intersections. Understanding why these specific connections matter so deeply requires us to look beyond the numbers and the titles to examine the broader cultural impact of these collaborative networks. When two actors from completely different worlds cross paths in a single film, it represents a unique moment in cultural time where different styles of training, different generational perspectives, and different artistic philosophies collide on the screen. A master-level chain might force a player to remember a specific, overlooked independent drama from the mid-90s simply because it was the only time an iconic method actor from the old New York theater scene shared a dialogue sequence with a rising pop culture icon of the millennium generation. These moments of crossover are rare, precious time capsules that show the evolution of the acting craft in real time. By forcing us to remember and analyze these specific intersections, the puzzle acts as a vital preservation tool for film history, ensuring that these small but significant artistic achievements are not permanently lost to the sands of time or buried beneath the sheer volume of modern content choices. Furthermore, the daily exercise fosters a unique, profoundly supportive community of like-minded enthusiasts who gather regularly in the digital space to share their triumphs, debate their alternative solutions, and analyze the specific historical context of each day's grid. It is an environment where the love of the silver screen takes center stage, and where the collective knowledge of the community often rivals that of the most accomplished studio historians. In the comments sections and forums dedicated to the daily breakdown, veteran film buffs routinely trade fascinating behind-the-scenes trivia about how a specific, critical link in the chain almost never happened due to a scheduling conflict or a last-minute script revision. This vibrant, interactive dialogue turns a solitary puzzle-solving experience into a dynamic, communal celebration of cinema. It allows people from entirely different walks of life, separated by thousands of miles of geographic distance, to connect instantly over a shared memory of a forgotten cinematic masterpiece or a brilliant performance by a beloved character actor. As each daily cycle draws to a definitive close, the global community of solvers takes a collective breath, stepping back to admire the completed tapestry before the entire grid resets to zero for the following day's challenge. The permanent archive of past puzzles stands as a monumental testament to this ongoing exploration, offering an endlessly deep well of cinematic history for those brave and curious enough to dive back into the mysteries of the past. It serves as a powerful reminder that no matter how much the technology, the distribution models, or the cultural trends of the entertainment industry may change,